It was a crazy thing, man, because I grew up in the Valley. I'm from Brownsville. And as a young 17-year-old that's been in Brownsville his whole life, I just wanted to get out and see the world, right? So the military gave me an opportunity, or gave me a pathway to go travel and do stuff. So I get to basic training and everything's going smooth, right? The training at the time was more geared towards Kosovo, Bosnia, the conflict that was going on in Europe. And then boom, 9/11 happens and everything gets scrapped. And I just remember the next day we had a big briefing by our battalion commander. He said, "What we've taught you the last 6 weeks, scratch it. We're about to go into a whole new war prep that's going to be completely different than what we've been doing." But when 9/11 happened, it became personal. You know, that had been the first major attack that we've had since Pearl Harbor. And, you know, my generation took it very, very personal, and we decided that we're going to go and get the guys that were responsible for it. So yeah, it took on a whole new meaning. So that September of 2015, by that time I had progressed quite a bit in my career. I was a flight crew member instructor, I was a platoon sergeant, and I also ran flight scheduling and a whole bunch of other stuff for my unit in Germany. I saw the mission come up to go to London for this expo, but with me being one of the senior crew members and one of my friends being our standardization instructor, both of us got tagged to go to this expo. So we're running the expo, we're trying to sell helicopters to the rest of the world. There's militaries from all over the world displaying their products there. It started raining, typical London day. So at the end of the day, I was rushing to put covers on, get it all covered up so it would be in good condition for the next day to showcase. And on the way down from the aircraft, I was probably rushing and missed a step and just kind of landed on my feet from about 5 feet and yanked my shoulder. That compounded into shoulder pain, neck pain, and over the next 3 days, it went from me not being able to move my neck to me not being able to move from the waist up, and then eventually waking up in my hotel room as my body was shutting down. Now, I had been to the ER 3 different times. They couldn't figure out what was going on until I woke up as my body's shutting down. I get an ambulance to come pick me up. By the time I get to the emergency room, which was about 200 yards away from my hotel, I was completely paralyzed from the neck down. Like, I couldn't move. All I could do was shrug. So I got rushed into surgery. I was supposed to be in there for 3 hours, came out 8 hours later, and the surgeon came over to tell me that I had a massive abscess in my neck. And after a couple weeks of talking to different disease experts and infection experts, we came to the conclusion that I'd had strep throat a couple weeks prior, and the bacteria kind of went through my body, went all the way into my spine, and when I fell, that had created pressure in my neck and it started getting inflamed. So it created an abscess that compressed my spinal cord. So it was from like the middle of my neck to the middle of my back. But it was just one of those things, man, that you don't expect. It's crazy because it hasn't happened to a lot of people. The big thing is, you know, people get given platforms without them even noticing. A lot of people want to make an impact, want to make a change, and when they're given a platform, they either fail to recognize it or sometimes they don't appreciate it. I looked at this injury as an opportunity to be a better person, to be not necessarily an inspiration, because believe it or not, I hate when somebody says, "Oh, you inspire me," something like that, because they should be inspired by themselves. But if I can motivate someone to do something with their life, to do something a little bit better, you know, that's what I'm here for. You know, I was coming from a very, very fulfilling military career, and the aspiration of being a Paralympian gave me that purpose and that goal in my life again after I had been completely given a whole new life to live, you know. Man, this medal means a lot. When I won this gold medal and I was sitting there on the podium watching them raise our flag, that wasn't for me. That's our country's flag. That's 360 million people that this medal represents, you know. This medal also represents a lot of my military friends that haven't made it home. When that patch, when that flag, when that uniform comes on, it's a completely different person, because I'm now an ambassador. You know, people look at it and they don't see Jason, they see USA. There's so many programs there for people who are interested in adaptive sports or just, you know, getting out of the house and finding a new normal. That's a big thing. I mean, reach out to me if you're watching this, and if you need to talk to somebody or you have any questions. And I'm one of those people that if I'm on the phone and I see a message come through, I will answer it right then and there. Man, it's an experience I wouldn't trade for anything, and I'd probably go back and do it all over again.